راجع كورة كولي، كولي يمشي كولي، واحدة كولي جريله هي خميسي خطيرة والكورة وفي وقت عدم وجود
ويرى في الموت بشارة لا يملك غير حجارة بالعزة لنا نادى الأقصى ثوالا للموت مشوقا ومضى يعزف الغيثار المحتل خداعه أغرى فيه سلسال
Die. Wow, hímale.
الخطوة حتى وقع بالموت قرارا
العباس Go! No!
Something extraordinary is happening inside Iran right now.
After Friday prayers to voice their anger about the U.S. and Israel's bombing campaign across the country.
The country is not just fighting a war against the United States and Israel from the outside. It is also fighting a war against itself from the inside. The Iranian government is cracking, its military is splitting apart, and ordinary Iranian citizens are now actively working against their own armed forces. What is unfolding is less like a country defending itself and more like a regime slowly losing its grip on everything at once. It began with a statement from President Trump that left little room for interpretation. He said there would be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender.
But they're tough, and they want to fight. And they're calling, they're saying, how do we make a deal? I said, you're being a little bit late. And we want to fight now more than they do.
He spoke about selecting new, acceptable leaders for the country and talked about giving Iran a great future. Whether the official goal of the military operation is regime change or not, those words pointed clearly in that direction, and the Iranian government heard them loud and clear. Within hours of Trump's statement, Iran's president did something that stunned observers around the world. He released a video in which he appeared to surrender, or at least come very close to it. He apologized to the neighboring Arab countries that Iranian forces had attacked. He explained that commanders had been killed and that soldiers had been firing without proper orders from above. He said the Interim Leadership Council, the small group now running Iran after the death of the supreme leader, had decided that Iranian forces must stop attacking neighboring countries unless those countries attack Iran first. He said the solution going forward should be diplomacy, not missiles. For a brief moment, it seemed like Iran was stepping back from the edge. But what happened next revealed just how broken the chain of command inside Iran truly is. Even as the president was releasing his apology, Iranian missiles and drones were being launched at Dubai and Bahrain. One drone actually struck Dubai International Airport. The president had just promised the world that Iran would stop attacking its neighbors. And at that very same moment, Iranian forces were doing exactly that. The reason for this contradiction became clear quickly. Iran's military headquarters put out its own statement, completely ignoring what the president had just said. The military declared that it had not attacked any foreign countries and that it was only targeting American and Israeli military bases and interests. It said those attacks would continue and would not stop. This was a direct and public challenge to the president's own words. The military was essentially telling the world that the president does not speak for them. Things got even more alarming when radical supporters of the regime began calling for the people around the president to be found and killed, simply because the president had apologized to neighboring countries. That is the level of anger and division now boiling inside Iran. This is not a quiet disagreement behind closed doors. This is open conflict between factions of the same government, playing out in public for the entire world to watch. Then came something that may be the most telling sign of all. The president appeared to backtrack on his own apology. He put out a new message saying that Iran was only targeting American military facilities, which are legitimate military targets. The language he used was almost word for word what the military had said in their statement. Either the president had a sudden change of heart under enormous pressure, or someone else was now controlling what he was saying. Whatever the explanation, it was clear that the civilian leadership of Iran was losing the battle for control of the narrative, and possibly much more than that. Part of what is driving all of this internal chaos is the death of the supreme leader. He was the one person who could unify the country and keep all the different factions moving in the same direction. With him gone, there is no single authority that everyone respects and obeys. Now different groups are fighting over who the next supreme leader should be. Some want someone closely aligned with the military and the hardliners. Others want someone more moderate who might be able to reach an agreement with the outside world. That fight over the country's future is bleeding into every other decision being made right now, making an already desperate situation even more chaotic. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, the numbers tell a brutal story. In the first day of fighting, Iran launched nearly 350 missiles. By day 7, that number had fallen to just 9. The reason is not that Iran changed its mind. The reason is that Iran is running out of launchers. American and Israeli jets are patrolling the skies around the clock, waiting for missile launchers to emerge from underground or mountain bases. The moment a launcher appears in the open, it gets destroyed, sometimes within minutes. Iran might get 1 or 2 missiles off before the launcher is gone forever. At the current rate of destruction, Iran's ability to fire missiles will soon reach 0. The United States military has struck over 3,000 targets inside Iran in just the first week of the operation. 43 Iranian naval ships have been sunk. The American Air Force has used every type of aircraft in its arsenal, from B-52 and B-2 bombers to F-22 and F-35 fighter jets. American tanker planes are now refueling aircraft directly over the Persian Gulf, inside what used to be Iranian airspace, and Iran cannot do anything to stop it. For comparison, the United States lost 75 aircraft during the Gulf War and 45 during the invasion of Iraq. In the first 7 days of this operation, America has lost only 3, and all 3 were due to friendly fire over Kuwaiti airspace, not Iranian action. Iranian government officials are now so afraid of being targeted that they refuse to meet in person. When Iranian forces tried to take over a stadium in Tehran to use as a base, it was bombed. They move from location to location trying to stay ahead of the strikes, but they keep getting found and hit again. The Iranian military, which once projected power across the entire Middle East, has been reduced to setting up tents on city streets because its soldiers are too scared to enter any building that might be identified as a military location. This is where the story takes its most extraordinary turn. Iranians who still have access to the internet are sharing the GPS coordinates of these hidden IRGC camps and hideouts on social media, hoping that American and Israeli forces will see them and strike those locations. This is not 1 or 2 isolated cases. It is happening at scale. A significant portion of the Iranian population has decided it wants these forces gone and is actively helping the countries bombing their nation to find the soldiers hiding among them. That is how deep the hatred of the IRGC has become among ordinary Iranians. Iran's foreign ministry is still trying to fight the information war by sending officials onto international television to warn European countries against helping the United States. Iran's deputy foreign minister went on French television and said that any country providing logistical support to America could become a legitimate target for Iran. He also pushed back against Trump's suggestion that America might have a say in choosing Iran's next leader, insisting that Iranian domestic affairs belong only to Iranians. The irony is that Iran has already attacked countries like Turkey, Cyprus, and the United Kingdom's bases, none of which were involved in the original conflict. The gap between what Iran says and what it does has never been wider. What is happening inside Iran right now is the story of a regime that was already under enormous external pressure, now tearing itself apart from within. The military is defying the president. Citizens are betraying the soldiers. Factions are fighting over the country's future leadership. The chain of command has broken down. And all of this is happening while American bombs continue to fall and the Iranian ability to fight back shrinks a little more with each passing day.